Okay, sadly, Idaho College is in northern Missouri. I have a bad feeling about this. Is this referring... I don't know what the reference is to here, if I'm being completely honest.
We talking Northwest Missouri?
Hey, Julio, come on, man.
I mean,
it's uncalled for.
Look,
I think we could have just sat there and
tried to read between the lines.
Let that be an unspoken thing. I think we could have just let that sit for a minute and not actually, potentially acknowledge it.
I'm just filling time.
Maybe not. I mean, Missouri Western is technically in the northern part of Missouri, and
that's one route you could go.
That place is boo-boo.
Okay. Well, see, now you're throwing stones, Glass house.
Do you ever think maybe us as a society have just been saying everyone's name wrong? I mean, the English language does give you that feeling every once in a while. Like, does anybody know how to pronounce anything correctly? Just kind of make up things. And here we go. Disc golf rules. Hey, of our former producer of ours, Jacob Mustard, was as big a disc golf fan as you're going to find. So I haven't done a lot of it. I haven't played much disc golf in my life. And by a lot, I mean never. I've never actually played disc golf before.
I'll have to take you. I just went out the other day. Yes,
there's one right by my house, like in that Blue Springs area. I think it's right off like AA. I've never been out there before. Maybe I should give it a try. I don't know. I need more hobbies, that's for sure.
Get you some exercise.
I need to get outside my house. And not for like yard work. That would be nice to just get outside and find. I keep looking for a place to like play pickup basketball. I'm a big basketball guy. I played a lot when of course, played the entire time I was growing up, and I played a lot in college. But since I got out of college, I have a really hard time finding somewhere to like just go play pickup with people.
Need to join some old man league or something, You're there. I mean, I'm just saying what you know to be true already. I mean,
are you saying
say what you want, but
because I turn 28 tomorrow, I'm officially unk?
You're getting there.
That's what you're telling me?
Really, after like 25, like once you're old enough to rent a car, it's all downhill from there.
That's tough, dude. Yeah.
Not getting any younger.
I can rent a car. That's true. Somebody said, okay. I work in disc golf. Come see us at DFSX Discs. I will give you both one. Said Matt came to the store last week and he hooked him up. Might give it a try. And our sideline reporter, Logan Weber, is coming back for another year. Oh, no. I'm not telling that story again. That was an absolute nightmare scenario for me. 913-586-7965. More Royals news to get to, including a member of that deep Royals pitching rotation that I was talking about earlier is now potentially being shut down for the remainder of spring training. We'll discuss that next. Logan Weber, Julio Sanchez. This is After Hours on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Hey guys, this is Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City. telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brenton and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA futures let you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or a conference title, a tight race in the East or a race in the Western Conference. Maybe you want to look at some of the futures now post-trade deadline. Did Cleveland sell you with the James Harden trade that you should be making a bet on them to win the Eastern Conference? Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit one entry. For Profit Boost token, opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
My friends at Smokehouse Barbecue have 2 new items that you need to try. First, meet the Pickle Jack Sandwich. We're taking tender smoked ham and melted pepper jack cheese, piled high with our signature pickle fries. It's crunchy, spicy, and smoky as well. And if you need to warm up, how about some Smokehouse chili? It's not your average recipe. It's loaded with our famous chopped burnt ends and savory sausage. And don't forget carryout, which you can order at SmokehouseBBQ.com. Visit Smokehouse Barbecue at Independence, Zona Rosa, and Gladstone. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brenton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. We're excited to launch Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks. This is about Kansas City, not about soccer. Telling the story of how our town ended up hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, plus video clips on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
Subscribe to Beyond the Pitch KC on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can always rely on the text line for comedic relief. It's absolutely phenomenal work here. Somebody said Logan Weber, the great white hope on the pickup courts. Not even remotely. Okay, I am all of 5'9" and 150 pounds. So I'm not giving anybody tremendous work out there. All right,
but you're the shooter, right?
I am.
You're the shooter. I know.
I mean,
I see it in you.
I love this story. My freshman year of college, I played pickup a lot. So, like, at Northwest, usually I would be done with class at, like, 11 o'clock noon if I went that day, if I'm being completely honest.
Sounds about right.
If I'm being honest with myself, okay? The media classes weren't brain busters. I'll just preface by saying that. So, usually, the rec center at Northwest, which had 3 basketball courts, would usually start filling up around 3 o'clock. And the main court was the court that you had to, like, write your name on. You had to, like, write out your name in order to get on the floor.
It's for the big boys, right?
Winners stay, right? The 2 side courts were just people who wanted to play pickup, you know, if they were waiting on the main court or if they just wanted to kind of relax and hoop a little bit. I was in there probably 15 to 20 hours a week. Like 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday,
serious.
when I was in college, that's where I was.
Commitment.
without question, like till my legs started to hurt. And then it was like, okay, it's time to go home. And like my second week of school, I was playing on the main court with this group of football players, and I'm left-handed. Okay, it's a pretty rare occurrence, especially in a basketball player. And I had one game where I played pretty well, hit 2 or 3 threes in a game to 15 by 1s and 2s. And after the game, this group of guys that I was playing with, and they were all like juniors and seniors. You're a left-handed point guard. You're like Goran Dragic. Mind you, that's pretty decent ball.
Pull.
That's pretty solid ball knowledge, if I'm being completely honest with you. Goran Dragic played in the NBA for years and years, mostly for like the Suns and the Miami Heat, but he was a left-handed white point guard. So therefore, that was my nickname. And so for the next 4 years, when I went to the rec center, if they didn't know me by name, I was just referred to as Dragic or Goran Dragic for the next 4 years of school. So not quite the Great White Hope, okay? Not quite Larry Bird. More of a Goran Dragic in a pickup game scenario, if that's where we're getting. Which, not the worst compliment in the world. And from then on, those are the guys I played with. Like freshman year of college, I was in a group chat with a bunch of junior and senior football players that would be like, "Hey, are you coming to the rec today?" "Yeah, I'll be there."
It's good company to be in, though. Pat yourself on the back.
It was a phenomenal compliment to get, like as an 18, 19-year-old kid, it felt pretty good. It really did. Somebody else was telling me to go to the Olathe Community Center. I would consider it. That's about 45 minutes from my house. I'm looking for something a little bit closer, like the Blue Springs area, if that's possible. If anybody knows where there's good pickup in like Blue Springs or even the greater Grain Valley area, which is where I live, that would be fantastic. I asked him, how long do the runs usually last? This person who's telling me to go to the Olathe Community Center. He said 2 to 3 hours. Pull up, Poppy. Let me give you some buckets.
That's I'm not sure that's a way to entice anybody to
it's one of the it's one of the stranger invitations I've received. Okay?
I don't know.
So he's threatening to give me buckets while simultaneously referring to me as
"Pull up, Daddy. Let's
Poppy."
go. I mean, come on. Let's go.
That's an interesting one.
Goran Poppy Dragic.
I mean, he's Spanish.
I mean, why not?
It's true. Goran Dragic was Spanish. Dragic won Most Improved Player. That's a good comp. I mean, he could give it to you. I mean, Goran Dragic at one point in his career was a bucket getter. I mean, he played for a while. Started his career in 2013 as a member of the Phoenix Suns and played for Houston, Miami, Toronto, Brooklyn, played for the Bulls, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
He was a steal on several of my fantasy years, NBA fantasy.
Averaged 20 a game twice in the league,
He was legit, man, for a long while.
He could give you some buckets. Averaged 20 a game in the 2013-14 season. I take that back. He played starting in 2008, 2009. And his last year in the league was the 22-23 season. 15, 16 years that man stuck around the league, and there's a career 13 points per game. I mean, that's Goran Dragic as a player comp. That's respectable. I take that as a compliment. Yeah, he was an all-star. He was all-NBA one year, a most improved player in 2013-14. Hell yeah. I'll take it. Much more of a Goran Dragic type player. No doubt about it. Please don't call me Poppy or Daddy or any euphemism for father. Okay?
I mean, it's catchy, so it's you and me. We now have an understanding of like where this is coming from, because that will now be for the rest of the night at least. It's going to be Poppy or Daddy for you. just so you know, this is not going anywhere.
Can I call Rob and get Fox programming on if that's the case?
I mean, look, it's an endearing term, Just accept it.
I suppose. Worse things to be called, I guess. But I want to get into some more of the news and notes of the day. I mentioned earlier a Royals starting pitcher who is now being kept out of spring training. We don't know if it's indefinitely or what the situation is, but according to, again, Ann Rodgers of MLB NFLnetwork.com. Stephen Kolek has been scratched, or was scratched yesterday for the second time this spring training. He was diagnosed with a left oblique strain on Thursday. He's undergoing another scan to determine the severity of it. He was supposed to pitch a couple of innings yesterday. Of course, that didn't happen. It would have been his second outing of the year. He's expected to be shut down for the next 5 to 7 days. That's the, I guess I could say, more glass half full approach. If everything else is, nothing else comes to fruition here, it's only going to be a 5 to 7 day stoppage. It could be more depending on the severity of it and what this extra scan is going to show. Matt Quatrero, the Royals manager, said, quote, "We're obviously hopeful it's not too serious." Kolek is one of those guys right now who is pushing for he's pushing to be in that conversation for the fifth starter, if not the first guy in the first alternate is maybe the best way to describe it, in the event that somebody gets hurt and or traded, right? There's still this undercurrent possibility that the Royals could try to deal Chris Bubich before opening day. I think that is less than a 5% chance at this point. I mean, to make a trade of that magnitude, right, trading away somebody like a Chris Bubich would have to entail getting a borderline everyday, if not everyday player in the outfield, most likely, on your roster. And that's a really hard thing to stomach for either team that would be a part of that trade. The Royals in insert team here, with less than a month to prepare that player for playing with a brand new team and organization in a brand new city. That it just doesn't feel like that's a highly plausible move for the Kansas City Royals. So Kolek right now is more or less competing to be the first guy that gets the call to be in the rotation if somebody gets hurt, right? And that, let's face it, was a problem for this Kansas City Royals team last year. Outside of Michael Wacha, every other pitcher on this Royals staff dealt with injuries of some kind, right? Even Noah Cameron, although it didn't lead to him being on the 15 or 30 or 60-day IL or anything, but they were having to skip starts for him because there was fear of being overexerted in those sorts of things. Lugo went on the IL a couple of times. Reagan's missed half the year. Bubich himself missed half the year. So I understand the Royals did a tremendous job during the deadline last year and trying to prepare themselves for that possibility. Kolek is supposed to be one of those guys. He was a member of the Padres last year and was traded to the Royals, or was he the Padres? No, he was the Pirates. Ryan Bergert was the Padres. Or were they both? God, I'm getting so confused. They acquired 3 pitchers last year, 2 from the Padres and 1 from the Pirates. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that Kolek and Bergert were both from the Padres in that Freddie Fermin deal.
Correct.
He made 5 starts for the Royals last year and was, really good. A 1.91 ERA, 5 walks in 33 innings. So Bergert is a guy he's pushing to be sort of that first guy that gets a call if somebody goes down with an injury or somebody maybe gets traded. I think it's unlikely. This is going to be a knock for sure. Even if it is just a week that he misses, that's a game or 2 that he could be missing on top of the one that he already has. Doesn't sound like it's going to be a long-term lingering issue for him that's going to keep him out and risk his ability on, say, opening day, because the Royals may elect to keep he or Bergert on the Major League roster as sort of a long relief option alongside maybe like a Daniel Lynch or somebody like that. 913-586-7965 is our number. How about on the Chiefs side of things? Not a lot going on right now. Most of the attention being paid to the NFL Combine going on this week and this weekend, but a few stories about the Kansas City Chiefs, one that I find completely preposterous, but I would love it, and the other came directly from the mouth of Brett Veach. So stick around for that. Logan Weber alongside Julio Sanchez. You're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan. Pull up Poppy. Let me give you some buckets.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense, and that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
At Casey's, when someone asked for a cup of coffee that wouldn't put them in debt, but still had freshly ground beans, rich flavor, and a price that starts with a 9 and ends with a D9 cents, we were too nice to say no. Now get a small coffee, just 99 cents. Limited time only. See store for details.
Sex, intimacy, love. These 3 things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew dressing up for a Halloween ball would change my life forever? Now I get to celebrate with the best fans and everything Kansas City. Oh, yeah! My journey also led me to Renner Garage Door, Casey's go-to team for garage door repair, replacement, and service since 1956. Renner features an MVP lineup from Deldon, Amar, and Liftmaster.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like an estate planner.
Per the contents of the will, all assets go to, what does that say? Ragutataya Yaminayat. Yeah, I don't know. I was in a weird place when I wrote this.
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Couple of Kansas City Chiefs stories on the timeline today. The first from ESPN. Dan Graziano and Benjamin Solik, who are two guys I read quite a bit of. Ben Solik is a really, really good up-and-coming name to read about in the NFL ranks. Agree with a lot of what these guys write and say every day. They've lost me a little bit on this one for no other reason than I think it is not going to happen. I mean, the likelihood of it is minimal, okay? But would I love it if it did happen? Absolutely. So Dan Graziano and Ben Solak of ESPN say the idea of the Detroit Lions trading Sam Laporta might be a good idea. Why, you ask? Well, the Lions 2023 draft class is a work of art, okay? Very similar, I would say maybe even a little bit better from the individual player standpoint to what the Chiefs did in 2022 with McDuffie and Shenault and Watson and all the guys that they were able to bring over, Karlaftis, to help that team defensively retool and win a couple more Super Bowls. The Lions obviously haven't gotten to that point, but just listen to the 4 names that they drafted in 2023, including Sam Laporta. So he's number 1, right? They also drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the premier backs in the National Football League. Jack Campbell, who was a first-team All-Pro and won the NFL Butkus Award for the best linebacker in the league last season. As well as Brian Branch, who, while the guy is a bit of a basket case and does things on the football field that should not be done on a football field, the guy is an outstanding safety when he's not doing his best to self-sabotage. All 4 of those guys will be free agents next year. So the Detroit Lions are going to have to make tough decisions. I don't know if they have the cap space available to pay all 4 of those guys, because you're already having to give buku dollars to guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, right? The list goes on and on. They've got a solid, really talented roster that has been decimated by injuries the last couple of years. I don't think they can realistically sign all 4 of those guys to extensions. So the immediate prevailing thought is, well, try to trade them away before they just walk away in free agency and try to get something back in return. They both admittedly said it is highly unlikely, that they would deal a guy like Sam Laporta away. They said it's 10% chance. They mentioned 3 teams as a potential fit: the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens being 2 of them. The third, and the one that seems to excite them the most, is the Kansas City Chiefs as a potential landing spot for a tight end like Sam Laporta. He would be a phenomenal fit for this Chiefs team. He would immediately be seen as the heir apparent to Travis Kelce if Kelce decided to come back this season. And then you have a 2-headed monster in your tight end room for a year before Travis decides to move on. Sam Laporta has been really, really impressive to begin his career as a tight end. What gives anybody pause, including myself, as much as I love Sam Laporta because he's an Iowa guy, he is coming off of a pretty serious injury from last year where he only played in 9 games. But over the course of his career, he's got 186 catches for 2,100 yards and 20 touchdowns. His 17-game average as it sits over the course of these 3 seasons is around 75 catches for 852 yards and 8 touchdown grabs a year. And he's an excellent end-line blocker as a tight end as well. I would love to see Sam Laporta in a Chiefs uniform. Do I think it's going to happen? Hell no. Wishful thinking on everybody's part there. But I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Sounds like something maybe for Madden. I don't think they have the cap room to sign someone like him. Not to mention his injury history kind of scares me a little bit. And to the point of the Lions maybe being able to, whether or not they're able to re-sign all those guys, the good thing for them is they're none of those are really premium positions to where you're going to be paid. It's not a defensive end an edge rusher. It's not someone secondary or a wide receiver. So, I mean, they could probably finagle it somewhat to sign back most of those guys. And can I just say that when you have 4 picks in the top 45 picks, good for them for hitting on all of those picks, but none of those, again, are premium picks. So they basically took the best at every non-premium position in that draft. So it's a hell of a draft, but that's a lot of picks to be in the top 45. 4 picks in the top 45 is pretty ridiculous in itself.
Yeah, no question about it. And I mean, again, I
them,
feel like there's certainly some merit to the fact that you look at those 4 names, and Laporta is very much the odd man out in that situation. While I agree that Jahmyr Gibbs being a running back is not a premier, position, at least not in terms of
pay,
market value, they would be foolish to let him go anywhere. He's
Correct.
a phenomenal player for them. He unlocks a lot of their offense.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of David Montgomery long before they even entertain the idea of letting Jahmyr Gibbs go elsewhere.
See, I think Brian Branch of those 4 is probably the odd man out. With as many issues as he's had. Unless you take into account those issues and you get a deal, I don't know that
And that's the thing with Brian Branch that stops me in my tracks a little bit, is because there are so many issues that are not his play on the football field, but more so the other actions that he has on the football field. That's probably going to lead to offers of lesser value, right? I mean, if somebody were to say, hey, we want to trade for Brian Branch, and the Lions are like, okay, we'll take a second. And a team's like, are you kidding me? He was suspended for his actions. There's no way I'm giving you a second. I may not even give you a third.
I was going to say, I'll give you a fifth.
I think the Lions are going to more or less have to dance with the one that they brought in this situation in Brian Branch, because his trade value, because of the other stuff, is going to be detrimental to him. Not to mention he dealt with injuries last year too, on top of the suspension. So it, again, leads me back to Laporta, because you're not going to let Gibbs go. And I think you'd be foolish to let Jack Campbell go after the year that he had last year.
Yep.
176 combined tackles, 3 forced fumbles. He was utterly outstanding. He had 5 sacks last year as a middle backer, which is pretty impressive. Not to mention the guy is a medical marvel at the position. That's the one thing I remember from watching him at the University of Iowa, is he is every bit of 6'5" and 245 pounds, playing middle linebacker in this league, and he runs a sub 4.6 40. What do you mean?
Physical freak.
Yeah, he's an athletic freak. And in his 3rd season in the league at 25 years old, was first-team All-Pro and won the award for the best linebacker in the National Football League. You're not going to let that guy walk either. So I just keep coming back to Laporta as the guy that they are likely to have to part ways with, but knowing Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, they are going to do everything within their power to make sure that they can keep all 4 of them, even if it means they screw their chances of being able to trade one of them and get something back in return, and one of them ends up dipping in free agency because they simply cannot afford it. We'll see. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up, including what Brett Veach had to say at the NFL Scouting Combine about what one of the Chiefs' biggest needs is this offseason, and a report from ESPN's Nate Taylor more or less confirming something we already knew, but giving a little bit more detail to a story from the trade deadline. Stick around for that. Logan Weber, Julio Sanchez, After Hours here on your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute.
That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself, Rob Bretton, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Let's go! You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
The NFL Scouting Combine has officially begun, and, well, yesterday, Brett Veach, the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, was speaking to the media and talking about where this team needs to go from here. One of the things Veach said, and this was actually on Tuesday, I want to correct myself. He said, quote, "We need to get more explosive in the running game." Now, everybody knows that, and Veach obviously knows that everybody knows that, but it's still significant in some way that Brett Veach himself brought that up when answering a question from the media. What could that possibly mean? I don't know, right? The Chiefs are sitting in a situation right now with the 9th overall pick where Jeremiah Love's name is coming up constantly, and I have to say personally, I hate the idea. I think Jeremiah Love can be a fantastic football player. I don't think you take a running back with the 9th overall pick.
Agreed.
There are plenty of great running backs that have been found in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds of NFL drafts over the years.
Will we be having a Ruben Bain discussion after today's information on measurements were released? At some point here? Does it scare you at all?
No.
Where are you at on the concernometer?
Not very. I'm not one of those. I don't subscribe to the arm length stuff. I just don't.
Yeah, to a certain degree, I'm with you on that.
Every tackle that was in this year's NFL draft, all these guys from Will Campbell, now that one did have some merit, to Armon, to Josh Simmons, everything was their arms they don't have long enough arms. And this was one that it turned out it was one of the best rookie classes for offensive tackles in the history of the league. So yes, I understand that a player's arm length matters in certain situations, especially for a player like a Ruben Bain, because he is only 6'2", right? He's 260 pounds. So he's not physically dominant in certain scenarios. And he doesn't have the height at his disposal. He's not 6'5", 6'6". He doesn't have the frame to necessarily throw on another 30 pounds and kick inside, because even when you're inside, you need to have tremendous arm length. But he gets to the quarterback, and his pass rush moves have such a violence to them. He plays with such a motor that I don't give it all the stock in the world, right? And there's the stat flying around today after the news that he's got 30 and 7/8 inch arms, that not a single defensive end or edge rusher has been drafted in the first round since 2003 that had arms under 31 inches. You know, that's the thing today. I am probably a little bit more concerned by the fact that it sounds as if he's not going to go through any of the drills.
That's what concerns me the most.
Yes.
Because if it's fine, I mean, it's okay, his arm length situation, but then he better excel at the rest of them. I mean, he has to excel somewhere, right? I mean, you are playing a different level of competition coming into the NFL, so I do need to see some above average stats somewhere. If again, I'm not big on the arm length thing, but that is, it's not great anyways. You know, it doesn't make me feel good by any means.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's listed as a 6.7 via NFL.com, which is a year one starter. And again, I'm in a situation where this week may affect the draft stock of Ruben Bain, which I see as a borderline positive for the Kansas City Chiefs.
It might be a good thing for us if that's,
especially when you look at
targeting.
what David Bailey was able to accomplish.
Yep.
I don't know. I am, like I said, I am much less a short arm absolutist than many are.
No, I'm with
I
you.
think this team needs edge rusher help, and I think Ruben Bain is the second best edge rusher in this draft, outside of David Bailey. And I had that sentiment for the last 3 months. And the NFL Combine kind of solidified that a little bit more for people today. 913-586-7965. We'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break. Stay with us. Logan Weber, Julio Sanchez, After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
We've all been there. You wake up and your knees give you that not today feeling, and it's frustrating and exhausting. Honestly, it's unfair. Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel way older than you actually are. QC Kinetics patients are getting relief, feeling younger, and jumping back into life at full speed without surgery. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. They take the tiny, powerful healing tools already inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation eases and joint damage slows down, because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate. Your consultation's free. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Stay warm and worry-free with Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Get a new furnace absolutely free with the purchase of select HVAC systems. The pros at Hamilton make upgrading easy with flexible financing, expert installation, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your monthly energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee, are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content at The Fan 965, KFMC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Day one of the NFL Scouting Combine, the drills portion, officially began today with linebackers and edge rushers going through workouts. It's interesting, some of the guys who I think really improved their stock today. There's 3 that immediately come to mind. Number 1 is David Bailey. Okay, I think many people were under the assumption that he's not going to be available for the Chiefs at number 9. Today did nothing to dispel that. David Bailey had an outstanding set of workouts today. Okay, he had a 4.5 40-yard dash on the dot. That was the best among edge rushers at the combine today. His vertical jump was 35 inches. Solid number, and he had a 10.9 in the broad jump, which was top 3 amongst edge rushers in the draft this year as well. So you look at his next-gen stats breakdown on NFL.com. Among defensive ends and edge rushers, his production score, first. His athleticism score from the combine, third, putting him with a total score of 86, which is well ahead of every other edge rusher in this draft class. He himself had a phenomenal day to improve his own draft stock. Another one, Arvell Reese. While he only did the 40-yard dash today, his 4.46 40 was the best of anybody that participated in the 40 today. Obviously going to help his stock undoubtedly. I mean, the guy's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick anyway, but I've seen some that have him slipping for some reason. But a 4.46 40 with the level of production that he had, 32.5-inch arms at 6'4", 240, every bit he looks the part. No question about it. And David Bailey, his combine measurables helped him in that fact as well. 33 and 3/4 arms, 6'4", 251. And when you pair what he did at the combine with the production he had this past year at Texas Tech, it's hard to argue with him not being the first defensive end off the board.
He will not be there for the Chiefs. That's correct.
No, he will not. And then you have the defensive tackles. And while, yeah, you had guys like Zane Durant and Caleb Proctor who had really impressive 40s for the defensive tackle group, how about Caleb Banks from the University of Florida? A name we didn't hear a lot about until the senior game, right? And then the lead up to it, in the week of practice that led up to it, people were talking about Caleb Banks all over the place. He was a well-used name on social media in the lead up to the event, and then the game itself where he had a really good day. So he was starting to get first-round pick nudges from people. Well, he comes out for the combine today and runs a 5.0440. Yeah, okay, you may say that's not very fast. How about the fact that he did it at 6'6", 327? 6'6", 330, and he nearly ran a sub 5-second 40. He had a 32-inch vertical leap today, which is also, to take 330 pounds and put it that high up in the air is outrageous and shows a level of explosiveness that he has at his disposal. He also had a broad jump of 9.6 today, which was the second best among all defensive tackles in this draft. He also helped his draft stock tremendously. He's got the 5th best total score of any defensive tackle in the draft at 6'6", 327. And talk about arm length, right? This concern about Caleb Banks because he's at 30 and 7/8. Caleb Banks has 35-inch arms. And his hands are almost 11 inches. So he is a physical specimen, physical presence with certainly some athletic tools to back it up. I'm not saying he's worthy of the 9th overall pick if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, but Caleb Banks really helped his case today as a first-round pick and potentially the first defensive tackle off the board, considering Peter Woods declined to participate in workouts at the combine. I still really like Peter Woods.
I was going to say he grew on me, so
I think he's I think he's a great fit for what the Chiefs want to do.
Agreed.
As somebody who you could pair next to Chris Jones, or maybe somebody to, eventually take the reins of Chris Jones. He's got proven pass rush capability. Caleb Banks is more of your two-gap eater as a defensive tackle. I don't know if Caleb Banks is going to be a guy who generates double-digit sacks a year as an interior guy. That's the capability of a guy like Peter Woods. But Caleb Banks is somebody you pair next to Chris Jones if you want Chris to be the guy for 4 more years. Peter Woods is the guy that you pair next to Chris Jones if you want him to be the guy in the next 2 years. That's what, are you looking for a running mate or are you looking for a potential heir apparent? That's the difference for me between Peter Woods and Caleb Banks in this draft class. Because I don't know if Caleb Banks can be your premier pass rusher. Peter Woods has that in his bag. That's where I sit in that situation. Those are some of the guys, those 3 specifically, Arvell Reese, Caleb Banks, and David Bailey, who I think all 3 solidified themselves as first-round picks in this draft. And I think for Bailey, he may have solidified himself as a top 5 alongside Arvell Reese, who may fall and be somewhere in the top 10. I don't know. And now I'm thinking about, what if Arvell Reese is there for the Chiefs at number 9? The Chiefs aren't taking him.
Possible. No?
No, it doesn't fit the scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to be completely honest in that scenario, right? He just doesn't fit what the Chiefs want to do. He is a 3-4 edge rushing linebacker, not just a defensive end. And so I think that would be a huge sticking point for this Chief. But at 6'4", he does have the frame to put on more weight. I just don't think it's super likely at this point. 913-586-7965. I was talking with somebody in the text line, was saying, I'm still hoping they draft Woods at 9, but I didn't see anything about him at the combine. Is he taking part? No, he skipped the entire workout portion of the combine. He just did the measurables. And I mentioned that Caleb Banks had a really good day. He said, I saw that. I view Banks as an end of the first round guy. If the Chiefs pick 29-32, he's a great grab, but at 9 overall, he's too boom or bust for my liking. I completely agree with that sentiment. With the 9th overall pick, you can't be taking a high-risk, high-reward sort of a player, okay? Unless it's a quarterback. Anywhere else, you really have to narrow something down. Again, I missed this, Logan. How much emphasis do you put on the underwear Olympics versus career stats and game film? I'm much more... I'm a production over combine guy. That's just sort of who I am, right? I sort of see it as like in baseball, people who rely only on the eye test versus people who rely only on analytics. I think you're both getting it wrong. You need to rely on both. What your eyes are telling you and what the numbers are telling you. Use those two things to make yourself better. I look at the combine versus a player's production in college very much the same way. If you're looking exclusively at somebody's production in college, that can skew things, I think, a little bit. Shout out Trey Lance, who put up great numbers in college at North Dakota State, following behind Easton Stick, who played as a backup in the league for a little while, and Carson Wentz. People fell in love with what Trey Lance was doing at North Dakota State, and hey, can he be another Carson Wentz player? Didn't happen. You see guys that come out of the combine who wowed people, right? Who didn't necessarily have a ton of production or elite production. I mean, who's it? Is it John Ross? Was the receiver from Washington who he was okay, right? But, he wowed everybody with that 40 time and people fell in love with him. We may be having a similar conversation in 3 or 4 years about another certain player along those same lines. Hopefully that's not the case. Jury is still out, or at least this juror is still out on Xavier Worthy. I'm not going to say that he's a bust by any means. But you have to take both of those things into account to, I think, give yourself the most clear picture possible at who a guy can be, right? Because a dude who had 400 career tackles as a linebacker in college, those numbers are outstanding. But if he comes out in the combine and runs a 4.8, okay, yeah, he's a great tackler between the tackles. If he gets his hands on somebody, it's over. But if he's got to run somebody down, you're screwed. Caleb Banks is a combine marvel right now, but he dealt with some injury issues, right? He didn't have a super productive year last year, so it gives me a little bit of pause on him. But somebody like David Bailey, who had a ridiculous season at Texas Tech, what do you have, 13 and a half sacks? Whatever the number was. He was among the nation's leaders, if not leading the nation in sacks last year. 14 and a half sacks. And then he turns around and runs a 4.5 flat today. Put those two things together, David Bailey's going to be an outstanding player in this league, more likely than not. That's how I see it. If you combine Kenny Pickett and Reuben Bain, you get a T-Rex. Tiny hands and arms.
It's uncalled for.
What's that? What's some Meet the Robinsons?
Yeah, that's correct.
I got a big head.
Yep.
And little arms. I haven't seen that movie in 15 years. I don't know why that just suddenly popped into my brain. I think the top 3 this draft go number 1, Mendoza, 2, Reese or Bailey, 3, Reese Bailey. As far as the Chiefs' dark horse pick at 9, what worries me with a great combine so far would be Sonny Styles. Again, Sonny Styles feels to me a little bit like Arvell Reese in that he's more of a 3-4 linebacker, comes inside as an edge rusher. More TJ Watt than Khalil Mack, if that makes sense. A little, more Micah Parsons than Myles Garrett. I don't think the Chiefs are going to land the next Myles Garrett in this draft, but you get the point that I'm trying to make.
I mean, I'd draft him just on his name alone, It's a hell of a name.
Sonny Styles?
That's right.
He's got another guy who's got outstanding size, 6'5", 244. So the frame is there. If you wanted to put 30 pounds on him and say, hey, you're playing defensive end every single snap, go for it. And his score is outrageous. Sonny Styles. You want to talk about, he's the guy who had the best day of anybody. No questions about it. Came into the combine with the best production score of any linebacker in the class. He then put up a combine that included a 4.46 40, which was tied with Arvell Reese for the best of any linebacker in the draft. A vertical leap of, get this, 43.5 inches, which again is ridiculous. He had the second best 10-yard split of anybody, 1.56. His broad jump, 11.2, leading all linebackers. His 3-cone was not as good. It was a 7.09, which was sort of middle of the pack. His 20-yard shuttle was in the top 5 at a 4.26. And they did not do the bench today. So Sonny Styles is currently number 1 among linebackers in production score, number 1 in athleticism score, and number 1 in total score, obviously. So, but again, he's like a linebacker. I don't know how that really works for the Chiefs. We'll talk more here. Stick around. NFL Combine, Chiefs, 9th overall pick. That's all sticking around here. 913-586-7965. For my producer, Julio Sanchez, I'm Logan Weber. You're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey guys, this is Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dane and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. All you need to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA Futures, lock in your pick on who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or win the Western or Eastern Conference. Maybe you think that San Antonio is going to upset OKC out west. Maybe you got any idea who's going to come out of the Eastern Conference. Maybe you like Boston with the possible return of Jason Tatum. Whatever your bet is for the future, visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Remember, play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 of President, Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry. 4 Profit Boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-428-5757. 800-428-5757. That's 800-428-5757.
Hey guys, it's Karen Harrison from The Drive here, and I want to invite you out to the first ever Drive Pop-A-Shot tournament on Wednesday, March 18th at Draftcade up in the Northland. All you need to do is listen into the show to qualify on Monday, March 9th, and also on Tuesday, March 10th, and you could be taking home the title of Kansas City's Pop-A-Shot champion. Rob and I are going to be broadcasting from Draftcade starting at 2 o'clock, and the tournament gets going at 6:30. The Drive's first ever Pop-A-Shot tournament, Wednesday, March 18th. Your home for Kansas City sports, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
So somebody in the text line just asked me an interesting question. Comes from a 913. Said if Arvell Reese or Caleb Downs are still available at 9, do you trade back because of the massive value of those two names and the fact that they aren't what the Chiefs need?
If you can find a trade partner, you don't think so?
No. No, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Caleb Downs may be something you need.
Oh, well, yeah.
Brian Cook is going to earn a bag in free agency. And it's a bag that the Chiefs should not pay, in my opinion. I mean, they're saying $14 to $16 million a year.
No, thank you.
Are we really going to be okay with this Chiefs team giving Brian Cook 4 years, $64 million potentially? I'm not. I wouldn't. I would rather see them give Leo Chenal 4 for $40. I would rather see them give Jalen Watson 4 for $64. I just don't think it makes sense for Brian Cook. So if he goes in free agency, you're going to need a replacement at the safety position. And while I know it's not a defensive end or a wide receiver or a running back or a defensive tackle, let me tell you this right here, right now. if there is one player in this draft class that right now, today, I would put legitimate U.S. currency on wearing a gold jacket and getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, it's Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is pound for pound, position for position, the best player in this draft class. I think Caleb Downs has the possibility of being a double-digit Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber player.
Nope,
I think he'll be the best safety in football in 3 years.
Yep, and historically speaking, that's not a position they pay for anyways. They just don't. They've always gone younger at that position.
Put Caleb Downs in that secondary.
Yep.
And then if Trent McDuffie is too expensive an option to retain long-term, it makes it easier to trade him because you have somebody in the back end of your defense that terrorizes opponents. You can be a little bit more comfortable with going the Jalen Watson, Noel Williams, Christian Fulton route if you want to. If you've got Caleb Downs there. I get the sentiment of this team is in desperate need of edge rushers, and I do not argue that point. Pro Bowls mean absolutely nothing. I don't disagree with you. I also said all pros. Pro Bowl, all pro. I mean, he's got a chance to be, I think if he plays 15 years in this league, he could be a 10-time All-Pro. First ballot, no doubt, Hall of Famer. That's the caliber of talent that Caleb Downs has. So I apologize if Pro Bowls, all pros, whatever. I 100% agree, but I'm just thinking ahead of how many positions we need to fill, plus how stacked this draft and next year's draft are. And that's a fair point, right? But when you're sitting there at number 9, the Chiefs will have their pick of the litter at best player available, but they're just late enough in the top half of this draft that they may not be able to attack their most immediate need without reaching at a position. If you're sitting there at number 9, if you're the Chiefs, and say Reuben Bain is still on the board, say Peter Woods is still on the board, and say Caleb Downs is still on the board, can the Chiefs really justify drafting Bain or Woods or Caleb Banks with the 9th overall pick in what will be seen by many, including me, as a reach at that spot, rather than drafting somebody who is a bona fide day one starter who I believe has the potential to be a Hall of Famer in Caleb Downs, or trade back and run the risk of those guys being gone before you have an opportunity to pick again. And then, yeah, you say you didn't reach, but you also just completely missed on them. That's a risk reward that I don't necessarily subscribe to much.
I don't know that if Reuben Bain falls, I don't know that that's necessarily a reach. In Peter Woods, I think that's probably about where he should fall. So I don't know that the reach is. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not having to make that pick.
Yeah, it's
tough.
We're sitting here all excited because the Chiefs have, not excited because they had a terrible year, which sucked for everybody collectively. But it's like, hey, they got a top 10 pick for the first time in nearly a decade. And the only time, the only reason they got that top 10 pick is because they traded up for it to get Mahomes in 2017. So you're like, oh man, they're going to have their pick of so many talented players, and they might. The problem is they're not going to be David Bailey.
The problem is only one quarterback is going probably in the first round.
Yeah, because the other guy that was going to be in the first round as a bona fide quarterback said, oh, I'd get drafted by the Jets. No, thanks. I'll see what happens next year.
Rightfully so.
Projections are just opinions, man. Who says certain players are a reach if they work out for your team? You're exactly right. It's opinions, which is sort of my job, is opinion. And my opinion is Caleb Downs is the best player in this draft. And if he's sitting there at number 9, if you didn't re-sign Brian Cook, which I don't believe the Chiefs should, take him. Unless by some miracle, David Bailey is there. Never going to happen. But we can hold out hope, can't we? I'd take Caleb Downs well before I took Jeremiah Love.
Oh, 100%.
I'll say that.
I'm with you on that.
And I do think that I could be convinced of a wide receiver at number 9. That receiver would have to be Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be there either.
Take him, but he's not going to. That's correct.
I don't know if Mekhi Lemon looks to be a good player, right?
This doesn't do it for me, man.
He has the potential to be a
Not at number 9.
JSN type, but I don't know if he can get there.
No.
And I'm not the biggest fan of Jordan Tyson out of Arizona. He's got great size.
Agreed.
But I just don't think he's as good a player as Lemon or Carnell Tate are. So if the options at 9 are Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love, or say Arvell Reese, I'm taking Caleb Downs rather than trading back.
Depends on how far back we're trading. I will say that. If
you're trading back to 11,
right,
and you know that like Arvell Reese is going to be the 10th pick, okay. But yeah, if you're looking at a scenario where the Chiefs are trading back from 9 to 14, that is a lot of uncertainty between those picks where any number of things can happen. And that makes me very, very nervous because the Chiefs could be looking at, well, we have 3 guys here at 9 that we really, really like, but we think they'll be there at 14. And then you trade back to 14, and all of a sudden those guys are taken with the 9th, 11th, and 12th picks. And you're like, oh no, what do we do now? That I'm not the biggest fan of. 913-586-7965 is our number. We do have more NFL news outside of the NFL Combine. I mentioned a story, a confirmation from ESPN's Nate Taylor earlier today about a trade deadline possibility for the Kansas City Chiefs. What went wrong, why it went wrong. We've got more details now. We'll discuss that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside Julio Sanchez. This is your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Bretton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Missouri, get ready. Circus Sports is giving you the chance to win owner Derek Stevens' wallet. From February 3rd to March 15th, you can take home your share of $250,000 in cash. Simply wager $100 and earn 1 share, wager $1,000 to earn 2 shares, wager $5,000 for a 3rd share. Bet on anything from pro sports to college, straight bets to futures. Don't miss your chance to cash in and take home your share of Derek's wallet. Visit circusports.com for details. Must be 21 and older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Advent Health welcomes the KC Golf Show, February 27th through March 1st at the Overland Park Convention Center. Get front door bonuses like 5 Great Life golf rounds, Golf to Mules National, free balls, sim time with Barry's Golf and Groove, and Birdie's Indoor Golf. And get an Advent Health Championship ticket, all while they last. Saturday the 28th is Women's Day, presented by Elevated Home Team and Keller Williams Realty Partners. Test drive Callaway, Mizuno, Cleveland, and more with Golf MD. See the new RMI carts, play the Edwards Jones Straight Drive, Genesis of Kansas City Long Putt, and the Midwest Golf Innovation Simulator. Get lessons with Imperial Golf. Roll it with Extreme Green and Evolve putters. Relax in Yingling Flight's 19th hole. Savor samples from Tito's Vodka and Booth Creek Wagyu. All at the Golf Show, February 27th through March 1st at the OP Convention Center. Thanks to Lake of the Ozarks Golf Trail. Visit Mississippi, Old Kinderhook, and Mulligan's Country Club. Kids under 12 are free. Tickets at kansascitygolfshow.com.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Get 5 quarts of Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $36.99. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
If you follow the Kansas City Chiefs, you know the name Nate Taylor. He is the Chiefs beat writer for ESPN. If you don't know the name, I would get familiar because Nate is excellent at what he does. I've had a chance to get to know Nate over the last year or so at press conferences and Chiefs games that we were covering. I had him on shows over the years over the last year plus of shows I was filling in for. Nate does a great job of covering this Chiefs team. And earlier today, he confirmed and gave more detail on the trade deadline negotiations between the Chiefs and New York Jets in regards to Breece Hall. You know, we'd heard after the deadline that there was a negotiation, that the Chiefs did try to acquire Breece Hall and that it just didn't happen. Well, he got confirmation from somebody that he, according to him, had knowledge of the negotiations, that the Chiefs offered the New York Jets a 4th-round pick for Breece Hall at the deadline this past year. The Jets said no. They wanted a 3rd-round pick. And the Chiefs refused to budge because they felt confident that they could get Breece Hall in free agency. That if it came down to it, the Jets would let Breece Hall walk and they would be able to bring him to Kansas City on a deal. Well, in the last 3 days, we have learned that that's probably not going to happen. 99% sure that's not going to happen because the New York Jets are highly considering putting him on a tag, a franchise or transition tag. Now, there is a little minute difference between the two that I'll explain. The franchise tag is that no other team, that the Jets offer him a deal. It has to be in the top average of about the top 5 salary at the position. Other NFL teams have the opportunity to match it. If another team negotiates a deal and Breece Hall agrees to it and the Jets elect to let Breece Hall walk, they would be given draft compensation. The transition tag doesn't give them that kind of protection. They would not get any draft compensation if Breece Hall signed somewhere else. What the transition tag does is, first of all, it keeps him in New York potentially for less money, around $10.5 million rather than about $14.5 million. Teams can negotiate. If a team offers a deal, the Jets have the opportunity to match. If they decide not to, Breece Hall just walks away pretty much scot-free. I don't think it's incredibly likely, though, that Breece Hall ends up anywhere other than in a New York Jets uniform next year. That seems to be the prevailing thought. The general manager of the New York Jets has been very vocal this week about keeping Breece Hall with the New York Jets. Of course, that's Darren Mogi, the GM of the team. So this isn't anything that we didn't already know. It's just a little bit more detail that came from Nate, that the Jets definitely wanted a third-round pick. The Chiefs offered a fourth and refused to budge from that fourth-round asking price because they thought that they could get Breece Hall in free agency. Nate also mentioned that the top candidates for the Chiefs in free agency this year at the running back position, and it does appear that they will be pretty aggressive in the market for a running back in free agency. Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks, I think that that's unlikely with the way that he played during the postseason. Of course, winning Super Bowl MVP. Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars, a name that we talked about it on Tuesday, Julio, I have warmed up to. I was very hesitant at first because everybody was talking about how good a blocker he is, and I'm like, I want a running back that can run the football, not block, but 1,000-yard rusher. He catches 40 to 50 passes a year with regularity, and they're right. He is one of the 3 best pass-blocking running backs in the National Football League.
He does it all, man. He does.
That's a three-down back, right?
He may not be super exceptional at any one thing, but he is above average.
And he'll be cheaper than Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
And then the third name, and this is a name that you brought up on Tuesday, and a name I've heard thrown around a few times, Tyler Algier of the Atlanta Falcons.
Very underrated.
And pretty underutilized the last couple of years playing behind Bijan Robinson after an outstanding rookie year. So might have, better tread on the tires, so to speak, than a Kenneth Walker or a Travis Etienne, especially Etienne, who's averaging, good Lord, over 225. Averaging like 225 carries a year so far in his career. He's gotten a lot of touches down in Jacksonville for some pretty bad teams, I might add. So, I don't know. But I do like the fact that they're still talking about free agent options for the Chiefs at running back, which gives me greater and greater confidence every day that they're not going to draft Jeremiah Love with the 9th overall pick. I think that is a nightmare scenario. I do not like the idea. I think that he's a great player. I think Jeremiah Love can be a great player. But utilizing a first-round pick and paying him top 10 money to play the running back position doesn't make a ton of sense to me. In other NFL news, we got the NFLPA survey. Now, this whole thing with the NFL Players Association surveys is a weird thing because, of course, they're not being made public this year because the NFL filed a grievance which said the survey violated the current CBA. Because they, quote, disparaged NFL clubs and individuals. Okay, so the NFL can have a partnership with numerous organizations that grade, ridicule, and disparage their players, but yet we can't have anything that grades, ridicules, or disparages the league. Feels like it's an antitrust violation on my part, but I'm not a criminal attorney, so I can't necessarily speak on that. However, certain news organizations, The Athletic and ESPN and others, they had their sources and they were able to acquire some of the information. And the information provided has the Miami Dolphins once again as the highest rated organization in the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings, were second, with the Washington Commanders finishing in third. Wow. You see getting rid of Dan Snyder has done miracles for the outlook of the Washington Commanders organization. The team that finished last, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not terribly surprised by that.
The Cardinals were 31st, second to last, and third, to last, 30th in the league, the Cleveland Browns, which was the same as they were in 2025. The report was based on responses from just under 1,800 players league-wide. All players who were on a 2025 roster at the time of the survey were eligible to participate. According to the results, the Steelers received low grades in several categories, including Steelers owner Art Rooney, who was ranked dead last in the league for his willingness to invest in facilities, which reflected the Steelers' poor facilities ratings. They had the lowest rated home field in the league, quote, by a wide margin.
Oh, ouch.
The players cited inadequate maintenance and excessive wear from hosting local college and high school games. Players across the league note the poor condition of the field and emphasize the need for investment to bring it up to standard. The locker room of the Steelers was graded out as an F. It only has 5 bathroom stalls for the entire team. One person was quoted as saying.
Ouch.
Woof. That's a tough one, man. I'm trying to see. They don't have like full no doubt rankings. I'm not seeing much of the Chiefs on the NFLPA survey. They got mixed reviews, according to an article. This came from KMBC. The Chiefs locker room received an F, which was the lowest mark on the team's report card.
No surprise there.
Team travel got a D minus. The training room a C minus. The training staff earned a C. The food and dining area a C plus. Weight room a B. Strength coaches B plus. In terms of the coaching staff, Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo both got A grades. Former offensive coordinator Matt Nagy a C plus.
Interesting.
Position coaches C plus.
Okay.
Chiefs home field an A minus.
Highest rank, right? Highest grade.
It was Andy and Steve Spagnuolo with their A, and then home field was A minus. Nutrition and dietitian was also an A minus. So those were their top 4 grades, alongside strength coaches and general manager, both tied for B plus.
I mean, you can't be surprised by any of the facilities grades, right? I mean, they're getting a new stadium. There's no reason for them to pour money into upgrading anything in their facilities.
Correct.
They're just going to maintain. So
it's interesting. You bring up a new stadium, something that was really linchpinned by Clark Hunt. He received a C minus grade in the NFLPA survey. 913-586-7965. We'll take a break and come back and wrap things up next. And I want to wrap it up with a little college basketball conversation, because I think the Missouri Tigers have dramatically improved their chances of making the NCAA tournament after what they accomplished on Tuesday. Logan Weber alongside Julio Sanchez. You're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. NBA futures let you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or a conference title, a tight race in the East or a race in the Western Conference. Maybe you want to look at some of the futures now post-trade deadline. Did Cleveland sell you with the James Harden trade that you should be making a bet on them to win the Eastern Conference? Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry for Profit Boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply a Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
You know, I said Tuesday night on this show, right, people asking me about Mizzou making the NCAA tournament, about Iowa making the NCAA tournament, because I am an Iowa fan, and I said about 40% chance, I felt about 40% confident in Mizzou and about 60% confident in Iowa. Well, after what I saw Tuesday night for the Missouri Tigers and what I saw last night from my Iowa Hawkeyes, about 60%, 70% confident in Mizzou making the tournament, and probably about 80% confident in the Iowa Hawkeyes. Mizzou, I mean, they got off to an incredibly slow start Tuesday night against Tennessee. I mean, Volunteers came out of the gate firing, but Mizzou battled. They managed to hold on to just a 3-point deficit going into the halftime locker room after they had a really bad shooting half. And then the second half started, and they were lights out. I mean, T.O. Barrett and Mark Mitchell were phenomenal yesterday, scoring 51 of Mizzou's 73 points. They shot over 60% from the floor in the second half of that game Tuesday night. So they win it 73-69. So now they're at 19 wins. And I said before that I felt like this Mizzou team, to give themselves the best chance, had to go 3-1 over this last 4. You're already well on your way. You beat Tennessee. Saturday, you've got Mississippi State, who is bottom 5 team in the league. They're 5-10 overall. You do have to go on the road and play them. That's tough, but you're coming off of one of your, 2 of your best wins of the year. You're playing fairly good basketball right now, especially offensively. Then you've got Oklahoma on the road, who is one of those 4 teams worse than Mississippi State in the SEC right now. And then Arkansas at home to close it out. So Tennessee, said and done with. Go 2-1 over the next 3 and you are a lock to make the NCAA tournament. Even if you go 1-2, you're probably still going to have to win a game in the SEC tournament to do it. But go 2-1 over these last 3. That puts you at 21-10. That puts you at 11-7 in the league, which is just what I was saying. And I feel much more confident in that possibility after you beat Tennessee on Wednesday. And then, same thing for Iowa. They had a must-win game yesterday against Ohio State. And they got off to an even worse start than Mizzou did on Tuesday. They were down 14-2 at one point, and then went on a 28-3 run to take the lead, and did it for good. They ended up winning by 17 over Ohio State, who was tied with them in the Big Ten standings. So now Iowa is 20-8. I think they need to win one of their last 3 games in order to be a lock for the NCAA tournament. And that one extra win will put them at 11-9 in the Big Ten standings, which I think will be enough to get them into the top 8 of the league and get themselves a first-round bye.
Congrats to you.
Feels good in year 1.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can do it in year 2 once Bennett Sturts is gone. That's going to be a much taller task, I think. For my producer, Julio Sanchez, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for getting involved in the text line. As always, last text I get tonight, would you consider yourself an Iowa Poppy? Unbelievable. That's how we'll leave it. I'll be back tomorrow night. Full boat, 6 to 9 p.m. after hours here on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm for 0% interest for 72 months on select